So I want to share a few things that have bothered me about the Breonna Taylor case. It's I think it's about four things that I'm trying to list off. First and foremost, the whole wanton endangerment thing. This is why that kind of rubs me the wrong way. So what it says basically is that this officer shot wildly into the apartment and endangered Breonna's neighbors. And so in theory, if these neighbors had died, that would have been a crime. Like that would have been bad because they're not even involved. But what rubs me and other black people the wrong way is they didn't die, but Breonna did. So why is this a crime but not that? Like that's what's weird. Like you're getting in trouble for something that at the end of the day, it basically is a fancy legal way of saying Breonna's death didn't matter. Like it literally doesn't mean anything, and that's what irks us. It's like that's what this whole thing was about. Secondly, her boyfriend is a legal gun owner and lives in Kentucky, which is a stand your ground state. And what's that mean? What that means is if somebody breaks into your house, you have the right to defend yourself with your gun. And so that's what he thought was happening. According to him, he didn't hear the police announce themselves, so he thought somebody was breaking in. So he took his legally purchased gun and opens fire. Now, what's weird is that this is the situation that I hear so many white conservatives who are for gun rights talk about. It's like, I need a gun to protect myself in case somebody breaks in. This is the situation. Like, where's the support now? We need that same energy. Thirdly, another thing that's weird is that officers came in, 3 armed officers shot. Granted, the boyfriend shot first, again, because he thought it was somebody breaking into his house. He shot first. Officers opened fire in return, and some of their bullets hit Breonna, killed her, but none of them hit the boyfriend. None of them? You mean to tell me 3 armed officers came in 3-on-1 and no bullets hit this guy? And he got one in on you? 3-on-1, like that, something's up. Either my man is superhuman or somebody can't shoot. Like that, my man needs to be drafted into the special forces. How you go through a gunfight with 3 men and come out unscathed? What? Something's up, but then that also makes me like, how did that happen? Like, how do you shoot everybody except for the threat? So even if this isn't racially charged, let's assume systemic racism isn't real. This shows at least some kind of training needs to be changed. Something needs to change. And just again, so that people don't think like, oh, you're just beating up on the police or you're just crying racism everywhere. This is a systemic problem outside of racism. Because if you look at the big picture, the U.S. kills more of its citizens via the police force than any other developed country. Like, it's wild. Canada, Australia, Germany, Netherlands, like the UK, Wales, everybody in the developed countries, nobody comes close to how many people get killed in the U.S. by officers. The only other countries that actually beat us are countries like Venezuela that had 8,000 deaths in 2019. And if you know, Venezuela, things are a little dicey. Next up is Brazil, which is like 5,000. And, again, not, the safest. And then you got places like Syria. Syria had barely beat like the U.S. in 2019. And Syria's a war zone. So we are in the same bracket as countries that we look at and like, hey, y'all are doing something wrong. Sucks to be you. We're in the same boat. What is going on?